Welcome everybody. This is Spirit Hunter Paranormal 911. Glad you're joining us as we go on another one of our adventures. We put out a video a few days ago of another cemetery. This is a different one that we're going to. It's been told to be haunted. People have heard voices, seen shadow figures, heard sounds in there. We're going to go there and see if we can't pick up on some of that activity. Basically, though, we're going there to check out the history of it, kind of do a walk through, see how old some of the graves are, try to find out how old this cemetery is. But before we go on that journey, if you would, go up to the top and hit our subscribe button, or it may be down in the bottom. Be sure to share and like so the videos can get to other people. We can get more subscribers. The more subscribers we get, the more videos we can put out. Hopefully we're planning on doing a lot better videos, more the paranormal type videos. In this video that we're doing, we did do an EVP session with the spirit box, and did get a little bit of sound, a response. Couldn't quite make out what it was saying. Also, I did get a feeling a couple times and was hearing voices. Couldn't make those out either. But be sure to watch, and if you see anything or hear anything, leave a comment, because a lot of times we view over these videos, and a lot of times we will miss things. But some of our subscribers, they have an act of catching little things that we may have missed. But be sure to let us know. But until then, let's go on a journey and let's get started. Well, we're here at Goshen Cemetery, just kind of north of Eustis, Texas. This cemetery is supposed to be haunted. People are saying that they hear noises, voices. They've even seen shadow figures. Don't know how old this cemetery is. It's been here quite a while. I have heard that this area, when first settled, was more of a farming community. Supposed to be a lot of the old-time cowboys and Civil War people that were buried here. Supposed to be some different style type graves. We're going to walk through here and see if we can't maybe recognize some of them, try to find the earliest grave. I know it's back in the 1800s, so we're going to walk through here and see what we can find out on it. You need to be quiet. You stay here. That's the entrance coming in. The main, well, not a main road, but the road runs right up alongside of it. Got like a little pavilion here at the beginning of it, I guess, where they hold kind of a gathering. Got a lot of them. It's got fences around them. Start keeping the camera still, walking on this unlevel ground. I'll turn my voice recorder on, see if we can't hear some voices. A little windy, so the camera's probably going to pick up some wind sounds. Looks like a pretty good sized cemetery. It goes pretty far back. These stones right here are supposed to be some of the first grazer in here, some of the farmer people, first settlers. This is how they did their burials. They buried them and then put a stone wall around them. There's no name or marker or anything here, so don't know who's here. Somebody's been paying their respects. Got some coins here on the stone wall where people will stop by and pay their respects. Hello, if there's any spirits here, if you'd like to speak with me, you can through my camera, and we'll hear your voice. Another one right here, kind of deteriorated or fall apart. Looks more like a brick type wall around it.
Brick.
We're going to check out these ones. Of course, a lot of these are, you can't make out the headstones. They've worn out over years. Here not too long ago, there was a report that they had vandalism here in the graveyard where some kids came in and did some damage to some of the headstones. You can see one here where they broke it in half. They've come in and repaired them the best they could, but there's several of them right here that's been busted. I do know that the kids that have done this, one of them had confessed and told the law what they did, who all was involved. So they caught those kids, kind of thinking that when they did this damage, they kind of disturbed the resting spot of these tombstones, and perhaps one or more of the spirits kind of attached to them when they left, and possibly may have haunted them a little bit when they went home, scared them, no telling, to where one of them kind of spilled his guts confessing on it. You know, you never know. But as far as I understand, there was 35 or so headstones that were damaged, a little over $1,200, I believe. It may have been 12,000. I'm not quite sure, but it was quite a big sum. Well, got one here in this fenced-in area. Dr. R.C. Malloy, born in 1871, died in, looks like 1891 or 99. He was fairly young to be a doctor.
91.
That's a 91?
Yeah. There's a one at the end.
Yeah. There's another one, didn't live very long. Morris William E., born in 1870, died in 1899. There's a lot of old tombstones here, I see, in this cemetery as well. A lot of the headstones look like trees, and from earlier going to graveyards, cemeteries, I found out that these tree type headstones were those of woodsmen, people, I guess, cut down the trees to mill the lumber for the homes and other things that they needed. Walk over to this one over here and see what it has to say. There's some real old stones. Probably not going to have any legible writings on them. You can see that there are some on it, but you can't make out what they say. This one here, I can't make out the name, but it looks like born in 1880, and maybe died in 1950. It's a shame somebody would come in here and desecrate headstones of people that are buried here. Died pretty young, born in 1876, died in 1888. It's kind of sad, you know, when you go around these cemeteries and come across ones that's had children buried in it. I'm sure it was just as rough back then for families as it is nowadays. See, a lot of them are young, 1892 to 1900, only 8 years old. God rest their soul. Some it just looks like they just stuck a rock in the ground. Hard to make make out on a lot of these. You can see that there's engraving on them, but over the years they've just kind of faded away and really can't tell who they are. Okay, this one right here, this is the earliest legible grave. It dates back 1815 to 18, looks like 69. It's of a, looks like Benjamin Hooker. So this is one of the first settlers in this area. I mean, there's a lot of more other graves here that were probably buried before he was, but you just can't make out the headstones to know how far back this cemetery goes. See this little section right here, the way it's set up could have been burial site of soldiers or from the Civil War, but they're just stones, no engraved on them at all, just a marker to let people know that somebody was buried here. Any spirits here that would talk with me? Standing here in front of some grave markers. Don't know who's buried here. Sure like to know. If anybody could tell me, you can speak to me through my camera here. Love to hear what you'd have to say. Like to know if these are soldiers or from the Civil War. I mean, they're set up pretty much right side by side. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 12, 13, 15, 16 or so. And I'm sure there was more right over there where they just got a block of wood sitting on the ground or stone or something, where there was probably more of them across here. I see a lot of spots like that throughout the cemetery. Hello, is there anybody here with me? Any spirits? If you would, please come and talk with me. You can talk into my camera and I can listen to it later and perhaps hear what you have to say. Now, people have said that they've been out here at nighttime when some of the activity happens. I haven't heard anything about any activity that's happened during the day. Doesn't mean that it doesn't. There may be people that's been here and just didn't catch it or wasn't paying attention. There's some more of those stones right there. Probably date back to the early 1800s or maybe even earlier. Not sure when this community happened, when the first settlers came in here. I was doing some more research on it and see if I can't find out some of that information to find out how far back the cemetery goes. This is some Miltons here. I know there was Miltons, some of the first settlers that came here. in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Here's one of a daughter, born February 1900, died June 1900. Oh, barely 6 months old. I noticed on a lot of the graves, especially the older ones in the cemetery, they probably don't have family that are living, or at least not around here. So it's kind of unforgotten. You don't see any type of memory around them, any type of flowers or wreaths or anything on them, as to compared to the newer ones on back in, where you'll see flowers by the headstones, or even a little stuffed animal or a toy. It makes you want to go out and just buy a bunch of flowers and come up, and all these pioneers that came into this area just put a flower at their headstone, kind of memorize them. Yeah, where we first started, that was more the older grave sites. Getting on up in here, it's more of a newer section. Hello, any spirits here would like to speak with me? I speak with spirits, and I'd like to communicate with you. Don't be afraid. I'm not here to harm you or disrespect you. Windy up here on this little hill. Just picking it up on the camera. There's some more of them stone markers. Seeing quite a few of those throughout the cemetery. And like I say, I guess when they came in to find out where a lot of the first settlers that were here were buried, there was no marker, no stone. They have some type of machine that they use to walk over the grounds, and are able to pick up where they're buried, and they'll just put a block down or a stone down with no information on it, just to let people know that there's somebody buried here. There's one over here that's built like a little border around it and covered it with white rock. There's a couple of them here. They say that the white rock that's put over a grave site is to energize their spirits, ward away evil. And this one has like some black lava rock in it. I don't know why they'd want to put that there, because it's also stated that black rock or black stone is more to draw evil spirits. Don't know how true that is. It's just ancient stories that was told. But I don't think I would put any type of black rock or red stone anything on a grave. That, to me, is more of a demon